Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am hard launching several relationships. I'm talking about lots of things I'm in a long-term relationship with. Obviously, as a beauty creator and just being in the beauty space, we always talk about new launches, I'm trying new things. That just comes with the territory. But I really want to talk about the things that have stayed in my life for a long time that I consistently use because they've improved my quality of life or they're very high quality themselves. So the way I thought about this list was things that I have emptied and repurchased many times or consistently used for many years. I also think it's nice to just not get lost in the shiny veneer of new things, but really appreciate the things that have served us well over a long period of time. If you're new here, then hi, my name is Bekah. I feel like this video is probably a good way to get to know me, to get to know my tastes. And also for anyone watching, if there's anything in your life that you're in a long-term relationship with, maybe you're codependent with, you can't get enough of, I would love to hear, let me know in the comments. I'm gonna start out with a couple of products that really exemplify things I'm in a long-term relationship with. And funny enough, they're both still bestsellers. The first one is the Fresh Soy Cleanser. I have loved this for years. I've recommended it for years. It's not the first time I've mentioned it on my channel. This is a gel cleanser. It's so beautiful. It smells lightly of cucumbers. It's not super fragranced, but it is a hydrating gel cleanser, and that's what I love about it. I feel like it's really good at breaking down SPF. I don't use it for makeup, but it gives me a thorough cleanse. It's very slightly foaming, but it doesn't strip my skin. It's a product I use in all seasons, and I actually just started a new series over on TikTok and YouTube called Ask Bekah, in which I ask people in my real life about products I've recommended to them over the years. And this was the first product that was featured by my sister-in-law, Kelsey, but she's not the only person in my life whom I've influenced to buy this, who has in turn influenced others. I first started using this, I think, when I was like 16. I would save up my money for it in Sephora. And now at the ripe old age of 33, I'm still using it because I like it so much. This was actually a mini I ran out and bought because I was on a trip and I forgot a cleanser, so I had to go into Sephora, and this was the first thing I grabbed. The other item is the L'Occitane hand cream. This is actually a product that works well, but I'm also nostalgically attached to. My mom always has a L'Occitane hand cream in her handbag. She used to always gift me minis for my handbag. This has actually gone viral on TikTok because I feel like people really like seeing the product come out. It's really rich and thick and stiff, and it keeps its shape in the tube. It's 20% shea butter, so it's deeply nourishing. It has this really nice sort of light powdery scent. I don't even like powdery scents, but I do like this one. It's not too sharp. And even though it has that high concentration of shea butter, I feel like it soaks into the skin quickly. It doesn't leave tackiness behind, and it doesn't feel too greasy or heavy. Next up are my silk goods. So I have silk scrunchies, silk pillowcases, a silk sleeping mask. I'm also wearing a silk shirt. This portion of the video is actually sponsored by Lily Silk. If you're not familiar with them, they have high-end silk clothing, home goods, pillowcases, bedding, pajamas. I have a couple of things I've picked out, but these are all things I've used for a long time. First up is essential to beauty sleep, and that is my silk sleeping mask. Mine is the gray color. I think it's so beautiful, and I use it every single night. Not even kidding, I can't travel without it. I can't sleep anywhere without it. I've tried a bunch of different kinds, but I do feel like the silk is the one that I come back to and that I use the most because it's so gentle on the skin, and I do have sensitive skin. This one's also great because it blocks out all of the light, which I absolutely need to fall asleep anywhere. So I always have a couple on hand. I rotate out one while I'm washing the other. I actually have quite a few at this point. And then I have my silk hair ties. I used to always have just one of those like drugstore rubber bands around my wrist at all times, but they always leave a dent in my hair. I feel like they can tear, they sort of tangle in the hair. I switched to silk scrunchies a long time ago, and I haven't really gone back since. It's just a nicer experience. It's easy on the hair cuticle, and it doesn't pull out your hair. Plus they have them in all these different colors. Then I have my silk pillowcases. I switched to silk pillowcases like years ago, and I do notice a big difference. You guys know I have super sensitive skin, partly because of allergies and also because I'm eczema and dermatitis prone. So having a really natural breathable fiber like silk actually helps prevent sensitivity. Like my skin really is that sensitive where if a pillowcase is made of a scratchy fiber, I will wake up with red and sort of sensitized skin because of the friction that it causes on my skin over time. And think about how much time you spend in bed. I'm also a side and stomach sleeper, so So my face is almost always pressed up against my pillow, and having a silk pillowcase has truly made a difference in my life. I also find that because I'm a side sleeper, the silk is less prone to leave indentations on my face. It's made an actual difference in my life, and it is something I've been in a long-term relationship with for like 10 years. So they actually carry a couple of different kinds of silk pillowcases in a lot of different colors. I just have the white, but there's 19 mom and then there's 25 mom, and basically mom is kind of like a thread count in silk. The higher the count, the softer the silk. It's a little bit denser, it's higher quality. These are both really, really nice, but you do have options there, which is nice. And then the last item is the shirt that I'm wearing, which is their Amalfi striped shirt. This comes in a bunch of different colorways. There's like a red, there's a classic black and white. Mine is the blue stripe, and this is a silk twill, which is really nice because it's a little bit more breathable for summer. I feel like I can style this really casually, sort of open as an overshirt. I can button it up for more formal events. I have the sleeves rolled up and it gives you a more like cool girl undone look that way. I also wear it as an overshirt over like a tank top. There's just so many ways to style this up, to style this down. It's a very timeless piece that I feel like I can wear over and over. You guys know on my sort of slow fashion journey, I'm very much about finding those staple pieces that I can just cycle into any outfit. I do have a discount code with them, which I'll flash on screen and I'll include down below with links to everything, of course. Let's move on to the rest of the products I'm in a long-term relationship with. Going back to skincare, I have mentioned this before. This is the Dr. Loretta Intense Replenishing Serum. It's a must-have for me. I've used it on post-treatment skin last year when I was doing some laser treatments. This was really, really helpful in healing the skin barrier. This is really interesting because it's almost like this protective gel. It comes out as a clear gel. I hope you can see right there. And it has a bit of richness to it. It's sort of occlusive. If you're having barrier issues like eczema, dermatitis, itchiness, irritation, dryness, this is beautiful. It's almost like a gel oil that really spreads across the skin. It creates this occlusive barrier and it just allows the skin to heal and regenerate itself. It's not like the most exciting, new, active serum, but because it is so good for healing and for barrier repair, it's something I return to over and over. It also helps seal in more hydrating ingredients because it does have that emollient quality to it. And it also creates a very, very smooth base for the rest of my makeup to go over because it almost creates this glide across the skin. The last skincare item is one that I've just emptied and I've already repurchased, and I'm kicking myself that I don't have a backup. It's the Skin 1004 Madagascar Centella Hyaluronica Water Fit Sun Serum, SPF 50 4 pluses. So this is an SPF. It's a Korean SPF. I'm sure you've seen it everywhere by now. Let me see if I can squeeze out a little bit. There's literally one drop left. It is a lotion consistency, but it's lightweight. You can see it sinks in really quickly. It's all chemical filters. It uses advanced Korean filters, and it's sheer. It's lightweight. It's hydrating, but it's not overly emollient. It does leave me with a bit of glow, but I like that, and I feel like it wears so nicely under makeup. There's a reason why people love this so much, and it's because it's one of those SPFs that doesn't feel like an SPF that agrees with so many different skin types. And because of the addition of the Centella, it's nice for sensitive skin. It has a slight cooling sensation. I just really love it. I can't be without it. It's something that's already on its way to me, the replacement, because I'm gonna need it for summer. I'm thinking of doing an updated video on all of my favorite SPFs for summer because I know, well, we should all be wearing SPF all summer, but I know not everyone does. That's okay. There's no better time to start than now, but this will definitely be in that video. And then I have a couple of like home lifestyle things. This one I've never mentioned on my channel, and it is the Dirty Labs detergents. I was introduced to this brand a couple of years ago. I was gifted them. I've since repurchased. They have a few different versions in this line. This one is actually their fragrance-free Delicates detergent. So it's really good for hand washing things like silk, natural fibers, you know, woven items, that sort of thing. I don't use this one obviously for every single wash. I just add a little bit if I need to hand wash something, especially things like my silk masks. It's really nice for that because it's gentle on the fibers and it won't damage them over time. But they also do have regular detergents. I actually just emptied another one of their Magnolia, Bergamot, and Cedar Lavender. This is probably my favorite scented one. I like using this for linens. And even though it's a smaller bottle, it's super concentrated. So you only need a little bit rather than using like an entire cap full of your more traditional detergents. And of course, like it smells really nice. It smells a little bit bougier. For my day-to-day laundry, I actually use their regular detergent unscented because I have sensitive skin. I'm so sensitive to fragrance in my clothing, but I do use this for linens around the house, towels, things like that, because it just creates a nice, like crisp, clean vibe. And then I haven't talked about candles in a while, but I have returned to an old favorite, and I think this scent is my favorite from this range. It's the New Savant Cloud Gazer specifically. I mean, I love all of their candles, but this one just kind of hits a really special note for me. It has notes of lavender sprigs, Earl Grey tea, misted freesia, steamed vanilla, and warm tonka. It's so warm and cozy and comforting. It has these lactonic notes. You shouldn't be afraid of lavender if you're not into like sharp florals, because this is a very round, cozy, warm, milky sort of scent. And I feel like it's a really nice nighttime candle for me. It's something that helps me unwind. It calms me down. It's really nice for the bedroom. When I'm stressed or overwhelmed and I need something to calm the senses, that's when I turn to a scent like this. And for me, it's one that's good all year round, just because it is so comforting and cozy. Moving on to makeup, I have had a big resurgence of the In Beauty Project lip oil in my life. I've talked about these before, but I recently got the shade Candy Apple, and this one has been living in my purse. The one that I've used for a long time regularly before Candy Apple is called Cookie. It's just a really nice neutral beigey shade. You can see it has this like really satisfying big doe foot applicator, and it sweeps across your entire lip in just one swipe. I love these because they are rich, they're thick. There are so many lip oils on the market these days. Some of them are thin and slippy slidey. I don't like that. This one is grippy and it really sticks around. And something about this shade specifically is so flattering. I'll put some on right now over what I'm wearing. This is the shade Candy Apple. And I've just been really into like a juicy red gloss going into spring, or no, going into summer. We're already in spring. I feel like this formula really smooths over lip lines. It makes the lips look fuller. It's not too pigmented, but even with that application, I'm like, oh, my lips just look so delicious and shiny. And the scents do align with the names of the shades. So this one does smell like candied apples. Really, you can't go wrong, I think, with any of these shades or flavors. I also really like Merlot for like a wine stain sort of lip. They have a Frosé one that has a bit of shimmer. There's so many shades in this range that I love. And really, there's one in like every handbag that I have. This one won't be a surprise. It's the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I actually have one in my purse, like in my beauty bag that I carry with me, and I have one at my vanity. I wear the shade Custard. I love this one because of its versatility. It looks like this. You guys have, I'm sure you've seen it. It's a potted concealer, but I love that I can take a fluffy brush, for example, and I can work across like large planes of the face and almost use it as a foundation spread out across my face. Or I can just dip my finger in and spot conceal. Like I have a spot up here. If I just want to conceal one little area, I can do that. And I get full coverage without it looking cakey and without it looking heavy. I know so many makeup artists who have this in their pro kit specifically because it gives you a lot of concealing power without using a lot of product. I always prefer to use a little bit of a high coverage product than pile on a low coverage product, especially when it comes to concealer. Then I have a very utilitarian product, and I feel like these are the products that people really have long-term relationships with because they're so functional. This is the Chantecaille Perfect Blur Powder. This was a limited edition package. It was so cute. I wish this was permanent, but it does come in their permanent range, just not with the flowers. This powder does what nothing else does. I don't use this for setting, and I don't use it for mattification. I use it for blurring over the pores and giving it a really soft filtered look. So I'll take a brush like this. This is the Rephr 18, and I'll just swirl it into the pan. This is the shade light medium. There's also a medium deep, but it is very sheer. And then I just kind of press it around my T-zone where I have visible pores. It's a great touch-up powder because it does give you soft mattification, but I feel like if you're oily, that's what comes through the most is you start to see texture, and it really blurs over textured skin. I don't know exactly how it works. I don't know the science behind this, but it just creates the most soft filtered finish without looking cakey or heavy or overly mattified. It still makes the skin look like real skin. I actually had to grab this out of my handbag because I still use it so much. I carry it around with me for touch-ups. I've been revisiting some summer favorites because it's warming up, and this is one of them. It's the Victoria Beckham Beauty Bronzer. If you're not familiar with this, it's a powder bronzer formula that comes with 2 shades in the pan. It's huge, and there are several shades from light to deep. I wear the shade 02. And each pan has a warm shade and a neutral shade, so you can get a bit of dimension and sort of movement, I guess, with your bronzer. And this is a truly matte but blurring, diffused, elegant powder. It's interesting because it doesn't have a lot of kick up when you touch the brush to the pan, but I find that it just gives you the nicest blend. It blends out with no effort at all. I also use this a lot on my eyes just as eyeshadow. I feel like I've heard a lot of people say across the board that the bronzers are not too orange. They're like a true neutral color. So you can actually use them for some light sculpting without going overboard and without it looking too warm or too orangey. These are also refillable magnetic compacts. The compacts themselves are very heavy. They're beautiful. You push the button here to release, and then this compact inside you can purchase a refill of, which is so great. It's a very elegant system, and it's very satisfying because you do hear that click. And last up is my beloved Surratt Noir Lash Tint. You've heard me talk about this so much. I've been using it probably for like 6 years. It's just such a unique mascara. It has this little coil. It's almost like a screw. I know you're gonna see this and be like, how does that apply mascara? But it somehow builds the most fluttery, defined, lengthened, separated lash. It also can build volume if you do multiple layers of it. And I find that it doesn't smudge. It doesn't weigh the lash down throughout the day. It doesn't over apply product. You get so much control because obviously the coil is narrow. It's not like a big fluffy brush where you're getting mascara all over your eye. It's super buildable as well. And even though it is on the high-end side, it's one of those things that I can truly say has improved the quality of my makeup life year after year, and so I will repurchase it. But do you see what I mean? It just catches on to every little baby lash and just creates so much lift and hold throughout the day. Speaking of summer things I'm returning to, I have not pulled out my Diptyque Philosophico since last summer, and I was going through my perfume collection, and since getting this, I have accumulated quite a few fig fragrances. For example, I really love DS and Durga Debaser. I love Fleur's Father Figure, but this was the original fig fragrance that I fell in love with, and I feel like it is the creamiest and the softest. It has that lush green note of fig, but it also has that lactonic quality. It's a little bit rounder, for example, than Debaser, which has a sharper fig note. It's more green. And Father Figure is a little bit woodsier, maybe even a little bit more unisex. This is definitely still a unisex fragrance, but it has, I don't know, just a kind of roundness that settles into the skin in a different way. I'm just so excited to pull this out because it really, really is a favorite of mine, and I had kind of forgotten about it in my fragrance collection, but it's something that I have come back to year after year now, including this year. And it's not that I can't wear it during the winter, I totally can, but something about that lush green fig note hits different in the summer. And this last item I have been in a long-term relationship with for probably over 10 years, well over 10 years actually, maybe 15. It's the Living Proof dry shampoos. This is their original. I also love their Advanced Clean dry shampoo. I've tried so many dry shampoos over the years, but nothing gets rid of oiliness quite like the Living Proof ones. They just do it best, in my opinion. So what I do is I sort of work from underneath my hair. You don't want to spray down because you don't want to weigh the hair down. You actually want to give it texture and life. So I work from underneath and I do quick bursts, and then I kind of work it through with my fingers or with a brush. I find that when I do this on wash days, which I actually did wash my hair this morning, so it was a wash day, it extends the life of my hairstyle and the time between washes. I wash my hair every 2 to 3 days. It also adds a bit of texture and it adds a bit of body and volume. That was maybe too much volume. But you get the picture. It just adds life to the hair. And even though it is powdery at first, once you work it into the hair and brush it out, it doesn't feel quite as powdery and it doesn't feel heavy over time. So I think that's everything from me. All of the things I'm in a long-term relationship with. I'm sure there are more. I feel like I could do a part 2 of this video. If you want to see it, let me know. And also let me know what you are in a long-term relationship with, because I'm just nosy like that. I will have the Lily Silk code. I'll have everything linked below, timestamps below. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!